meloncollieflaurです. Hello everyone. I am meloncollieflaur. And you know what today is? It's Melon Wednesday. SUIKA水曜日だよ. We have made it to the middle of the week once again. Just a few more days until the weekend. Be it school or work, keep doing your best. I believe in you. I have a lot to talk about today as well. おはようございます。こんにちは。こんばんは。私はメロンコリーフラワーです。今日の配信はスイカゲームだよ。Okay. Let's get right into it today. Okay. So, right from the start. First of all, happy April. We're now in the 4th month of the year. Year seems to be going by pretty quickly. I'm no longer as busy as before, so I should be bringing more streams. So first things first, before I talk about Switch 2, I have to say that I am definitely excited for Rhythm Heaven Groove or Rhythm Paradise Groove for Izumu Tengaku Miracle Star Hazard, which is coming out next year. I was very surprised to see that was a thing, that we are actually getting another Rhythm Heaven game after so long. But I guess I kinda should've expected it because we got a WarioWare game not long ago. The WarioWare team is the reason for Rhythm Tengoku. So I'm looking forward to that for next year. Now, as for today, the direct for the Switch 2 seemed really interesting and very promising. I can definitely tell that they were aiming a lot for they're trying to prioritize more multiplayer and being able to stream to friends or be able to connect with friends a lot easier and a lot better. Basically getting with the times. So, and the interesting thing about that is it seems that the resolution output can now be 4K at 60 frames, or you can do 1080 at 120, it seems. So that's really good. With all of that processing power, this means that everything should run a lot better. I saw some things about... Oops, give me one moment. Sorry about that. I saw some things about the Switch Online stuff and how we got GameCube now. Or coming, basically. So now, that's really good. Like, that's really, really cool. People were waiting for that too. They were anticipating GameCube at some point. Not only that, but then Kirby Air Riders is coming out as well, which is basically a sequel to the GameCube game Kirby Air Ride, which is a racing game. It seems that they are actually focused on a few racing games this go around. Mario Kart, obviously. Mario Kart World, I think it's called. You can do F-Zero GX on GameCube NSO now, or when it comes out. I also saw some of the rare stuff that, you know, cost an arm and a leg, like Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, and Pokemon Coliseum and Pokemon XD as well. So that looks really cool. I'll have to ask owner about borrowing account, because I think that's the only way I will be able to mess with that. Because I don't have an account of my own. But also, Deltarune chapters 3 and 4 are coming out, because I'm pretty sure that was highly anticipated as well. And Silksong, Hollow Knight Silksong is also coming out. Switch 2. So a lot of great things coming up. Seems that Switch 2 is coming out June 5th. So there's plenty of time to get enough money to get it. Fingers crossed that it's really, really good out the gate. And nothing too finicky. Right? So, good stuff. Really, really good stuff coming up. I am thoroughly impressed. It seems that a lot of people were delighted to get a chance to develop for the Switch 2, develop games for the Switch 2, or be able to get their ports over to it. Obviously, this is something that the Switch was trying to do. And this is something that they wanted the Wii U to do. Hello, Bob. Welcome. I'm Melon. Hope you're doing well today. I was just talking about the previous 2 directs that have happened in the past week or 2. How I'm excited for the new Rhythm Heaven game for next year. And how Switch 2 was presented pretty well today. It looks very promising. Price point I'm not too sure about, but it looks very promising. I do like what's going on. People are very excited to develop for the system, and it seems that Nintendo is super happy to actually present it. They have little tech demo stuff to show it off. I like the mouse thing, the mouse movement type thing. This means maybe we'll get something along the lines of Mario Paint 2 or Mario Artist or something like that. That was on like the DD for the Super Famicom, I think, or not Super Famicom, the N64, I believe. I think. The direct was pretty cool. Nintendo fans are eating good today. Right. Seems really cool. I am thoroughly impressed, actually. I just hope that there aren't any huge disappointments or anything. Because remember, the things that we used to have trouble with were the was like the Joy-Con drift situation and battery life and frame drops and all that type of stuff. And since there's more power being put into the system, this could mean that, I mean, maybe the system won't run as long off dock. I personally play docked mostly anyway, but it does seem like the system is trying to be more handheld, and it's going more for the multiplayer like chat feature as well. So basically like switch with Discord, I guess, or switch with chat and stuff. So they're trying to get more involved, make it where I guess everyone can see each other and it feels like everyone is there with them, right? So that people don't feel so lonely. I think that's what they are trying to do with that. It seems really cool. But I don't know. It seems like it's coming out in 2 months, actually. So maybe that'll be enough time for people to actually decide whether or not they want it and be able to buy it. The only thing I hope people don't really do is pre-order at this moment, because things can get a little finicky whenever we pre-order at this point in time. The power on this bad boy is gonna help games not run like toasters. I agree. That's what I'm hoping for. This way that a lot of this way a lot of games won't end up being super laggy, like Pokemon Scarlet Violet or like Grand Theft Auto. Basically any of the games that they added much later. You would think ports would run better, since I mean, you know, but I guess the tech would be different. I guess technically a new computer wouldn't really run DOS well, would it? When you think about it. But yeah, it's pretty good. I think it's really cool. But the thing about it is, since it's more multiplayer centric, or like I guess extroverted centric, it seems like, I do wonder how a lot of people feel who are mostly like single player players usually, or those who are just very introverted like myself, because they really did actually release a lot of stuff on the Switch 2. Like they released Elden Ring, so the Switch 2 is basically becoming basically an official like Steam Deck type situation, because like I said before, the Switch 2 is trying to be what they wanted the Wii U to be, which is why they made the Switch in the first place. And it looks like the Switch 2 is utilizing what they really wanted. So they're super like proud of what they've come up with. And that's really good. It's not something that happens very often. So here's to hoping that it's like that it actually does deliver the way it was presented, if not better. But yeah, the chat stuff I'm not too sure about, because like I said, I'm a very introverted melon, so but this is like a LAN party or couch co-op type thing, it seems. But it's really nice, and I'm glad that Deltarune and Silksong are finally like known of, and of course Metroid Prime 4 for those who are really into Metroid as well. Yeah, a lot of good things are coming up, and it's really cool. But like I said, I just don't think it would be a good idea to pre-order at the moment, or to pre-order in general. Just wait a bit. I just hope it doesn't end up turning into like a Wii release situation or a PS5 release situation, where it was hard to get them, or it took a while to get them again for it to be restocked, because maybe it was a scalping thing, I guess. I'm glad that Hollow Knight fans can finally rest. I've heard they're pleading for this game, right? Same. I have a close friend who was really waiting on Silk Song. It's really funny because another friend was saying something like, was wondering if it was going to be introduced or talked about in the direct before, but it was shown on the Switch 2 direct. So it seems that the people have been listening as of late, because I feel like we have been in a gaming drought, in the sense of, or a gaming depression maybe, in the sense of what we want or what we've been playing. It feels like a lot of games that we've been playing have been very samey or plastic like, or feels like there's no real feeling in them, or they just all feel the same or look the same with like a slightly different coat of paint, I guess. So that's why a lot of people have been going back to some of the more retro games, some of the older Pokemon games, some of the older Mario games, older systems in general as of late. So it felt like people, I guess, were in a rut, maybe, and that indie developers were actually towing the line for the most part and doing really well. So this is very interesting. Could you imagine if they did the presentation today and then they decided to release the system like this weekend or something instead, or like next week instead of June? I feel like no stores would be prepared and there would be riots for the most part. So I am glad that they are giving people time, right? But we do live in a time where we can just go ahead and order a thing to be delivered to us, for the most part, in most places. So maybe that's a thing, or maybe that will be a thing. But I'm happy that people are able to rest now. A lot of the popular anticipated games have been shown to light, so it's really cool. And now people who were really trying to play, like, I guess Fire Emblem or Fire Emblem Path of Radiance or Pokemon XD or Pokemon Coliseum can finally officially like play it now without like emulating it on Dolphin or something, and stream it to people as well officially. I may do one of those. I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm gonna have to borrow owner's account for that. You can be a Moo Meadow Cow in Mario Kart now. I saw that. That was very interesting. It's like once they did, what is it, Bee Queen in Mario Kart 7, I guess everyone became a racer now. It's so cute though. It's like, well, if a Moo Cow can be a player, then I guess a Goomba or a Monty Mole could be as well. So that's really interesting. I feel like that's going to be a character that everyone memes with and just starts playing as because of that as well. Everyone's going to main Moo Moo Cow. Moo Meadow Cow. That's really funny. And I did like the different threads and stuff, the fit of the different characters and whatnot. King Boo looked rather dapper in the coat. Mario and his clothing and stuff. Different clothing and stuff. I'm not sure how that's utilized. Maybe that came from Tour or something. I never played Tour, but it's really cool. I saw the Fishbone and Cataquack play as well. What? Really? Wait, why would Fishbone be? That's interesting. Yeah, I guess everyone is here now, huh? I wonder if you could play as like Spiny or Parabeetle or something. Buzzy Beetle. I guess. I don't know what's happening anymore. But it seems interesting. And you can go off-road now and just like chill. It's not just racing anymore, it's just travel. It seems. Travel with friends, go on adventures somewhere. That's really interesting. I kind of wonder how that's going to work. Or what the bounds are. So, yeah, it seems really cool. How does the fish even drive? They'll put anyone behind a wheel now, right? I used to think it was really weird when they put King Boo in Double Dash because Boo doesn't have feet. So how can you press the pedal? So I have no idea. Very interesting. But then again, how can Goomba use a bat in Super Mario Sluggers? So who knows? Nintendo logic is not regular logic. Which, like, I also am not regular logic. I was thinking the same thing. Yeah, it's very interesting. So yeah, after all the weird news that's been going on as of late with like Nintendo and stuff, a lot of negativity and whatnot, it seems that they've been working on something to really impress. Now, I'm not sure what the Switch 2's gimmick actually is. Maybe it's the mouse thing. It might be the mouse thing. But it does seem interesting. I don't know what their main focus is going to be. But we now have a console, a Nintendo console, that basically is a Steam Deck. Now, the thing about that though is games are large, right? So if the games are large, and they even said, you know, they have to use a specific SD card, you know, the XC type. Which I'm surprised we haven't been doing that sooner. Because games are large. Especially when we're downloading a lot more of them now. One of my recommendations is to buy more physical. Because that storage space is really gonna be an issue. Unless you can manage to find 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte SD cards, which I wouldn't recommend because you might not get one that actually is compatible. I recommend getting physical copies of games. I know it's very easy to go, well, I can go into the eShop and get this digitally. But like I said, the games are very like hefty. So if you can help it, just get the physical. Unless the games are digital only. And then if there's DLC, it'll just, you know, you just download that to that. 1782. 82. 1782. So I do wonder what's going to happen. I do wonder how this is going to sell. Here's to hoping that there's more positivity than negativity. We do get our hopes up quite quickly, but we also keep a huge shield around ourselves because we don't like disappointment. So I do hope great things occur. I wonder if the new cartridges still have the bad taste the regular Switch games have. That's something I didn't even think about. I can only assume so. The only thing I saw different was that I guess it's a red coat now. They didn't say anything like it doesn't fit in an old Switch though. Maybe it just won't work. At least with the DS and the 3DS, you were prevented from putting a 3DS game into a DS. Strawberry flavor now. Strawberry flavored earwax, yeah. Or Play-Doh, maybe. But yeah, probably so, yeah. It'll probably still have that coating. Yeah, it's gross. I mean, it's gross, but tell me I'm wrong, right? That's definitely what that would probably be. Oh, that's something too. I'm wondering about, they talked about how, like, if you already have a game, how you can upgrade to the better running one, I guess, for a price. I wonder what that price is. And then I wonder if it's worth it. Obviously, you don't want your games to run poorly or slowly. And they want to remedy that by having you get like a small little upgrade bit, I guess. But I wonder how much that would be. And for which games? Because imagine doing that for every game that you have. Or every game that is compatible. That will rack up very quickly. I hope it's not pricey, but also it would help a lot. Right. And I also hope that whatever they do for like the GameCube Switch Online, I hope they're not doing a price jump on that as well. Kind of like what they did when they did the expansion for N64, Game Boy Advance, Genesis. Since they're only adding GameCube, as far as I can tell. Also, I kind of wonder, now that they're adding GameCube, I wonder if it will actually know if there is a file, like a game file, from like a Game Boy Advance game, right? Because Wind Waker's on there now. It's gonna be on there. Like I said, Fire Emblem, Pokemon. Obviously, we don't have any Pokemon games that we can play on online at the moment for Switch Online or for Game Boy Advance or anything like that. But apparently, for Fire Emblem at least that I know of, because Game Boy Advance games do connect to each other on Switch Online. My owner plays Fire Emblem a lot. So, but they also play between like the JP versions and the English versions on the Switch Online, because as long as you have a Switch Online account, you can download the other language one too, as long as you have it in that, have an account for that different language to go in that eShop. So, for Fire Emblem Binding Blade, or I guess for Fire Emblem, the first one that was released internationally, which I think is called Bekka no Ken in Japanese, you can skip the Lin mode in JP if you have a completed copy of, or completed the story in Binding Blade, or Fui no Tsurugi. And it does recognize it. It will do a check on it to see if you've cleared it, and it will move on. So I wonder if it will read a save from the Game Boy Advance to actually connect to that on the GameCube as well. Hello, Mel. On Melon. Hope you're doing well today. What I do is I have a family plan, so it's not as pricey. Each person does $10 a year, but paying solo is a bit hefty price-wise. Absolutely, absolutely. That's why I'm just gonna borrow my owner's account instead. I think they'll be fine with it. It's fine. But yeah, I wonder about it. Because the interesting thing about the GameCube gimmick was being able to also connect the link cable from your Game Boy Advance to, because some of the GameCube games had that connection. I wonder if we'll get Animal Crossing GameCube then. It might be kind of weird because there are different versions in Japanese, and I wonder if they're gonna do exclusivities the way that they did for the other Switch Online stuff. Also, since the GameCube was region locked as well, so I'm curious. I guess I'm just excited to see what comes of it at this point in time. I'm more curious, if anything. So I don't know. Seems really cool. But I don't know if I'm going to get it immediately. As much as I am excited. Did they say, I believe they said they were going to release GameCube Online at launch, right? So maybe that would be a reason to get it then. But at the same time, I'm not sure. It's kind of like when the Game Boy Advance NSO was released. I think everyone was playing Superstar Saga. It's a really good game. So yeah, there's a lot to look forward to. Of course, I'm talking mainly about Nintendo stuff. That's also because I mainly play Nintendo. But as I've said before, I am excited for those who finally have a way to play Elden Ring on a console. Or Elden Ring on Switch, I guess. And a lot of those other third-party titles that people play on PC. And Silksong, of course. Silksong, Deltarune. So yeah. Nintendo fans are eating really, really great. For those who have been trying to find a reason to play Switch again, or for those who never purchased the Switch, can now get the Switch too. Without any real regrets, I guess. For those who have different Switches though, like the OG Switch, the OLED, the Switch Lite, I do wonder how people feel because they spent money on those 3 different ones. I mean, I think the OLED came out a little, like, close to 2 years ago, or a little over 2 years ago. It's kind of like a Nintendo 3DS, new Nintendo 3DS, 2DS, new 2DS situation, I guess. I just wonder if people are going to make their old Switches paperweights now, or if they'll sell them. I'm not entirely sure. I just wonder about that. I'm definitely keeping my stuff though. But yeah, I'm really excited for Rhythm Heaven Groove, or Rhythm Paradise Groove, or Miracle Stars. I guess the question is, which one do I get? Which one do I buy? Now I have options. Do I get the European one? Do I get the American one? The US one? Do I get the Japanese one? I don't know. I don't know if there would be differences. Because it might be a situation with the 3DS version where only the Japanese version had lyrics to some of those remix songs, and then the other ones didn't have lyrics for like the other languages. And I don't know if I want to buy multiples because the games are probably going to end up being $60 each, respectively, around that. So I don't know if I want to obviously purchase all 3 or purchase 2 of them. So I don't know which one I want to get then. But I am curious. Like, Rhythm Heaven has practically become my brand at this point. Rhythm Heaven and SUIKA game, it seems. So it's really cool. But I am definitely excited. But I'm also overwhelmed. That's the thing about it. It's like being excited for a thing because something new is coming out. You see all the great things coming out, but then you think, what do I do first? What am I going to focus on? What do I really want to do? And it's kind of like where when you wake up one day and you go, there are a lot of things I want to do today, but there's so many things that you want to do today that you stare at the ceiling or at the wall and you don't do anything because you become overwhelmed to the point of not doing anything. It's weird. It's a weird thing. It's a very odd thing. That happens sometimes. You just end up not deciding on doing something, and so you just don't do anything. What are you guys most excited for though? Like, what are the things that you really want to do? I tried Rhythm Heaven since I like rhythm games. It just wasn't my thing. The timing was super precise and unforgiving. I agree. It is very precise and unforgiving. I think the easiest one is probably the one for the Wii. The hardest one might either be the DS one or the Game Boy Advance one. So yeah, I get it. I feel like for a lot of people who are into actual rhythm games and stuff, Rhythm Heaven is very, very, very different from the rest of the actual like traditional rhythm stuff, which is funny because I'm good at Rhythm Heaven stuff and I'm not very good at other stuff. I'm not very good at Guitar Hero or Rock Band or Friday Night Funkin', or like Catch the Beat and stuff, or Dance Dance Revolution, like a lot of that stuff. So that one niche rhythm game that I really like, I'm really good at. I guess because I focus on that one. But a lot of people who are good at the other ones aren't very good at Rhythm Heaven. Those are the ones I played. The GBA was super evil. GBA. So the GBA, it depends on how you play it. If you aren't running it on emulator, it's actually not bad. But if you're playing it on emulator, there's going to be delay as well. I do know what you mean though, because if you do miss a lot, obviously, it does feel unforgiving. I feel like the DS one is unforgiving because touchpad is very finicky. So like the tap and flick, the flicking is sometimes unforgiving, even if you have a very clean screen. So it just depends on, I guess, how you run it. Like for example, even if you did manage to quote unquote emulate the games, the best way to quote unquote emulate them would be through a 3DS or a Wii U, since it goes for as native as it possibly can, and you don't have to worry about frame drops for the most part. So I feel like Rhythm Heaven games are really difficult to emulate anyway. And they're also not very expensive. At least the non-3DS ones aren't very expensive. I think GBA is actually one of my favorites. I don't know which one is actually my favorite. I might like the Game Boy Advance one more than the DS one, but I like them all. That's the thing. It's hard for me to choose. I could, once I like complete the GBA one, I can erase it and do it again over and over. But there's also like no penalty for doing that. For the Wii version, there's a remix you can do once you have gotten all of perfects on all of the games. So it's like a remix. Or like, it's called a perfect remix, I think it's called. So then it's a little bit difficult. Or you're a little reluctant to erase that file. So you just make a different one. The DS one, it depends. I do like the DS one a lot though. I think a lot of people would say maybe their least favorite is if it's not the Game Boy Advance one, it's the 3DS one. The other game I like is Taiko no Tatsujin. But I'm glad you're getting a new Rhythm Heaven game. It's been a bit since the 3DS one. That's true. I think the 3DS one was maybe, what, 2015 or so? I think. Something like that. I don't remember. Maybe 13. I'm not entirely sure. It was a while. Taiko no Tatsujin, I forgot. Yeah, that's right. That's a good one. That's a really good one. I like Taiko no Tatsujin a lot. I wish I could stream it, but I can't because of copyrighted music. That's one of the things too. You're gonna see a lot of people streaming Rhythm Heaven because most of it isn't copyrighted music. If there were more rhythm games out there that were more close to generic type. Oh, Rift of the Necro Dancer. That's another rhythm game that's coming out. And that looks really fun as well. I've never played Crypt of the Necro Dancer though. But I know they had like that one and the Zelda-like one. And now they have a new one coming out pretty soon as well. So I guess it's like 3 rhythm games that they're coming out with. within this year and next year, I guess. But yeah, I love Taiko no Tatsujin. Taiko no Tatsujin is really interesting. I first found out about it digging through or looking for Japanese games to play on my Wii. And I learned that the Wii has 5 of them. And I thought that was very wild. Of course they were Japanese only, but they had 5 of them. And the Wii U had 3 of them. So the Wii had 5, the Wii U had 3, the 3DS had 3. And then the Switch had, I think, 3. Because what they did was they repacked one of them. So after German Fun, they did a bundle, which was 2 games that they had from the 3DS. And then they did the festival one. Taiko no Tatsujin is really fun. Yeah, I haven't played that in a while. Don Doko Don. I really love rhythm stuff. I'm glad it is a gaming genre of some sort, because it's really fun. I don't know what's happening. So if you hear noise, I also don't know what's happening. I guess spring cleaning. I was so excited that an arcade nearby me had an arcade cabinet for Taika. I had to try it out on the big boy drums. That's really cool. I've only tried that once myself. So I've only seen like an arcade cabinet or an arcade version of Taiko no Tatsujin once. It's really cool. I'm glad you had a chance to experience that, because I don't know if arcades are gonna last any longer worldwide. Because apparently they're costly, I guess, and plus people don't really go to arcades as much anymore. Yeah, at least the machines would make their money back in the day, I guess. But a lot of people don't really go to arcades anymore. Of course, you know, the big C didn't help either, because we had to, you know, stay home for a good while and whatnot. But I'm not sure how long arcades will last, if they still do. And it's really cool. Oh. Wow. Okay. Yeah, today was a good day. So good that I managed to speak for a long period of time today. Oh yeah, another thing. So yeah, since we're in the month of April, this means that I will be streaming a lot more than I was before. I was definitely absent more last month, and I do apologize for that. So I'll be getting back to stuff this month. So look forward to that. Of course, I'm not sure what times I will be doing things. I should probably look at my analytics to see when people watch my things, so that it's more comfortable for people and less taxing to watch. I am very small after all, both in stature and channel-wise. So, the more exposure the better, I suppose. And I am very comfy, as far as I can tell. I try my best. Wow, that was really cool. But yeah, I'm really happy today. I'm really happy that there are a lot of good things to look forward to, and it's in the near future, but it's not so near that you have to panic about wondering if you'll have enough to get it. They do give you this month, next month, and then the next month. It comes out June 5th, which is an interesting time. So look forward to that, I guess. I hope Joy-Con drift has been fixed. The magnet thing is pretty good. I think that's cool. We've come a long way with magnets, huh? Magnets used to mess with computer monitors and television screens and stuff. Now we can have magnets on electronics and it doesn't mess with them. Technology really has evolved, huh? Fingers crossed. They're Hall Effect joysticks. I think that's what they're called. Hall Effect. Oh. I'm not sure what it's called. Everything has grown in size, that's for certain. And I do like the mouse idea. I like that utilization. I like the little tech demo or the wheelchair sport that they tried for that you do for that. Looks very interesting. Melon. Very, very eventful 2 weeks. Or a week and some change, I guess. I'm not sure. And then there's another direct that's supposed to happen at some point in April. I think the 17th or something like that. Oh, that's another thing. Final Fantasy Remake is coming to Switch 2 as well. A lot of the big stuff is actually coming to Switch 2. And it's not something that you would expect. So it looks like Nintendo is really trying to become current. I guess they're tired of being in the past. I'm not sure. This is definitely an interesting timeline. Contrary to the Switch's launch, Nintendo Switch 2 has games. That's right. I guess the Switch didn't really... Did it not have something that it came with? Obviously, we know that the Wii came with Wii Sports. But I guess the Switch didn't really have anything, huh? I didn't get Switch at launch. I got it a little bit later. Or at least a year later, I'm pretty sure. I used to hear about the problems that it had as well. I don't think I've ever heard more about control stick or Joy-Con drift ever than with a system like the Switch, so it was very interesting at the time. And it reminded me of like the Red Ring of Death days, where there were just issues that were very easy to fix, but it was definitely something that was happening all the time based on the way that the things are made. Except with, you know, Red Ring of Death, it had more to do with overheating. But I think with drift, it's more of, I guess, the plastic or like the seating of something that's going on in there that's causing the Joy-Cons to, or the control sticks to be off. Which is very interesting because control sticks, depending on the controllers that you get, can be very iffy. So like with Woody controllers, the small ones, the really small ones, where the buttons are small and they're like really small in your hands, it's a really good controller. The only real downside to it is the control stick. The control stick has this weird thing where you end up sometimes at one point when you're trying to move forward or move, I guess press up, you move at half speed, and the control stick itself is on like a pin. It's like on a pin of some sort, as opposed to like other control sticks. So it's harder to replace, and it kind of renders the controller useless unless you only use D-pad. It's really weird. I'm not sure how manufacturing works when it comes to trying to develop stuff like that. But it's a big issue. I don't even know what an official like Nintendo licensed controller is anymore, because I'm pretty sure Hori is like a third party and Power A is as well. So I'm not really sure. We're talking about controllers now. I despise Power A controllers. Hori is decently good. I guess Power A depends. I have both. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. So I guess some of them are hit and miss. I think I've only had one Hori controller. And like I said, the only downside to it is the control stick. I have a Pikachu Eevee one. It's like a mint color, mint and pink color. Really, really nice. Very small. But the control stick does that thing that I talked about earlier. And that's the only downside to that controller. Power A has gorgeous looking controllers, but I've had 3 to 4 Power A controllers fail within a week of having them. Yeah, it's weird. I remember going to a secondhand shop and I bought 2 controllers at once. And one of them that looked closer to the official like Switch Pro controller didn't last for more than, I mean, granted it was a secondhand shop, but it didn't last more than, I want to say 2.5 to 3 months. But I did use the other one that I had and it's fine. It's weird. It almost feels like a Mad Cat situation, I guess. I'm not really sure why. $15.91. 1591. I can do one more, maybe. But yeah, control sticks are important. Grips are important. Drift, you know, drift prevention is important. It being too tight is important. Just yes, food. On Melon, what can I see everyone today? It's been a little bit, hasn't it? Isashiburi ni. Then again, it's also been a little bit because I barely stream. But I will be changing that pretty soon. My go-to company for controllers is 8BitDo. They're amazing. I think I do have 1 or 2 8BitDo type controllers. They are really good. They're really good because you can use them on the Switch and like a computer as well. And I do think that's really cool. I think there's also something called the... Well, I don't have to say think. My owner ended up getting... I think it's called the GC Bros 2 controller or something like that from 8BitDo. Where you can plug in like your GameCube controller or like a Wii Pro controller or a nunchuck even. Basically whatever you plug into the Wii remote, you can plug into that and you can sync that up to the Switch and use one of those controllers instead. It does require batteries unless you use it on computer. If you use it on computer and you plug in the cable, you don't have to use batteries. I have one very nifty adapter. Oh, so you have one then. Okay, so you know about it. Yeah, it's really good. I like it. It's very, 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 very nice. Because I have never had drift on like a Wii controller or anything like that, or like a GameCube controller. I mean, there have been circle pad issues on like 3DS. But other than that, yeah, no. And it's very interesting when it comes to like D-pad production, because sometimes the D-pad can be, the biggest issue is that resistance is a thing. So the way that the D-pad rocks on an axis and how hard you have to press or don't or not as hard to press, I guess. Not sure how I want to phrase this sentence. Depends on the, what is it called? It depends on the contact that it is, well, in contact with. The guts, I guess, or the squishy part that the buttons react on. If it's too new, the time it takes for it to press and unpress feels like it's sticky, so it takes a while and it's not as good versus when it's a little squishy and the reaction time is a lot quicker. Reaction time. My favorite adapter is a USB that looks like the Mario bricks. It lets you use Wii U, PlayStation, Xbox, and 8-bit controllers on Switch, PS4, PC, and Xbox. Isn't that called the I guess it's called like the 8-bit Do 2 dongle situation? Yeah, where you can use the yeah, you said you could also use like the Wii U controller. So yeah, you can use your like PlayStation controller as well. Basically, you could use any controller on the Switch with 8-bit Do stuff. Now, I wish that you could do the same thing for like other consoles, like use that stuff for like the Wii or the Wii U as well. So it's very interesting that you can use it for the Switch, I guess because it's made for the Switch or the PC. But it is a shame that you can't do so. You can't use that same thing for the Wii or the Wii U. Granted, I mean you can use the Wii remote and a GameCube controller and whatnot on the Wii U. But you know, options and all that. Plus we want to consume the least amount of batteries as possible, because that is definitely something that the Wii did for a long period of time. I used to say that I really like using the Wii U Pro controller a lot because it does feel really nice. And there's nothing truly wrong with it. But I think I now prefer like the Wii Classic controller more for playing just about anything. Like playing any of virtual console games and whatnot, Super Nintendo or NES and stuff. Basically, I guess racing games as well. It's a nice fit for the hands. It's not too small. It just works really well. And there is, I guess, you know, there is a difference between the classic controller and the Classic Pro. But like, they each have their uses. I guess where the Z buttons are, the Z buttons are, does determine that as well. And whether or not it has the grips. But it's very interesting. Wii U Pro is definitely a nice feeling controller to hold. Right. It doesn't die fast either. I think that's also because it doesn't have gyro in it or something like that. So it lasts for a long period of time. It can go for a while without you having to charge it. But with that 8-bit Do 2 brick like USB, yeah, that using the Wii U Pro controller with that, yeah, it's perfect. Though I have for me, I have like a sticky D-pad that I had to fix. Other than that, it's perfect. But it's all about reaction time, which is what you really want, especially if you're playing like those rhythm games. So, or the time it takes for the button to unpress, press to unpress ratio, which isn't always like a problem with the controller itself. Like I said, sometimes all you have to do is replace the membrane. That's the word I was looking for. Sometimes all you have to do is replace the membrane on the inside, because like I said, sometimes the membrane can be too new, and if it's too new / clean, it's actually stickier, which means you can press it down and that's fine, but the release takes a bit longer because it's like there's resistance to it, which isn't necessarily what you want. You want some of the older membranes. So that the release is immediate. So you too could make some of your Mad Catz controllers actually really good if all you do is replace certain components of the controller. Not every bit of the controller, but like, it can work. I don't know. I'm kind of knowledgeable, just a little bit. I know what a nice controller feels like, or what a nice button press feels like when you're trying to react to something in a game. So I don't know. But yeah, there's a lot to be excited for. Today is a good day. 1146. 1146. But I hope you guys enjoyed today. 見てくれてありがとう。見てくれてありがとう。Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned for more streams. Stay tuned for Super Paper Mario. I will go back to Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. I know I have put that on the back burner for a while now. I apologize for that. It's definitely a mood thing. Streaming in general is, but like certain games to play can also be a mood thing. But please be stay posted. Well, I guess not really stay posted, but you know what I mean. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Just know that I will be back. Tell your friends about little old me if you think they would enjoy me or my demeanor and stuff. I mean, I'm at 80 something subscribers, I guess. I don't know if I'll reach 100 anytime soon. Even if I do, I have to figure out something to do for that. I'm really bad with preparing for celebrations, but I really need to do stuff like that because I care a lot about you guys. So, but yeah, I am meloncollieflaur, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye bye. Oh, it's Melon.